Welcome back to Britain's favourite view.
Northumberland has many landscapes and landmarks. From fishing harbours to the bleak yet breathtaking Cheviot Hills.
But for our next film, we take a journey back in time, as Janet Street Porter takes us to a view that represents the heart of a lost kingdom.
As Vice President of the Ramblers Association, I've taken in a lot of walks around the British Isles and seen a lot of beautiful views. But every now and again, you come across a place that's more than just a view. It's a voyage of discovery for the mind and for the soul. And for me, the Northumberland coastline is the perfect example.
It's a coastline ravaged by nature, steeped in history. There's a story around every single corner. From the moment I first came here as a young journalist 38 years ago, this place really captured my heart, and I think it's going to win yours too.
So join me as we discover the place where I think we find Britain's favourite view. The Northumberland coast is full of contrasts. Rocky shores ravaged by the North Sea, next door to sweeping sandy beaches. But the thing that really sets this part of Britain aside from any other is its turbulent history. For the place was once one of the most treacherous battlefields in Britain. From the border battles between England and Scotland to the War of the Roses. The legacy of these conflicts is that Northumberland has more castles than any other English county, 25 in all. And it's at one of these castles that I believe we find the view that beats all others in Britain, Bamburgh Castle. The enormous medieval fortress is built on a huge outcrop of volcanic rock, towering above the tiny village of Bamburgh below.
Living in London, it seems incredible to believe that this place was once considered the capital of England.
But over 1400 years ago, that's effectively what it was.
For periods in the 7th century, the kings of Northumbria were the preeminent overlords of Britain, so everyone would have known where Bamburgh is.
And archaeological digs on the site prove that the castle was a seat of real power.
So what date is this sword?
Well, probably, they're difficult to date, but most of the experts say about 6th, 7th century. It's an incredibly sophisticated piece of military technology. I mean, they're so rare, the modern equivalent would be sort of a stealth fighter, that kind of complexity and expense. Something this important, this sophisticated, this expensive and rare must surely have been a royal sword. It would have been part of an heirloom of the royal house of Bamburgh.
Looking at the castle today, it's easy to imagine that it was home to a king. But I was surprised to discover that this isn't the way the castle used to look back then.
I mean, in the Anglo-Saxon period, the palace that would have stood on the hill probably had gold plating and artifacts that would have shone in the sunlight. And they'd have used primary colours and things. It would have looked absolutely horrible to our taste.
The beautiful castle we see today is in fact the work of Lord Armstrong, who made his fortunes engineering bridges such as London's Tower Bridge. He had the castle rebuilt and restored from virtual ruins.
What he's managed to do is to produce a castle that looks like our picture book idea of a castle.
It's perfect for the era we live in. It has that beautiful weathered stone look, which is exactly what it wouldn't have looked like in its heyday.
But battles and castles aren't the only things that give this place a rich sense of history. Thanks to King Oswald, who ruled in the 7th century, it also has a spiritual legacy. 6 miles down the coast and a 30-minute walk across the sandy causeway, we find the tidal island of Lindisfarne, otherwise known as Holy Island.
Oswald had become king in Bamburgh in 634, and when he became king and discovered that Northumberland had lost much of the Christianity that it had had, he decided that he needed to convert them again.
There were a load of rabid pagans.
I don't think it'd go quite that far, but they certainly weren't very Christian.
King Oswald requested a monk to come to Bamburgh and reintroduce Christianity. St Aidan, a monk from the Scottish island of Iona, decided Lindisfarne was the place to do it. And now, why do you think that Aidan chose this particular place?
Actually, he was used to an island, and he wanted not to be in among, because islands are considered to be spiritual places, especially in the Celtic Church, so it was quiet and peaceful. But on the other hand, you could see the castle. It was very close to the king, and he could work with the king.
From here, Christianity spread across the land. And 1400 years later, the legacy lives on, as every year on Good Friday, up to 100 pilgrims make the 2-mile walk across the causeway to pray at the place that has become known as England's cradle of Christianity. But whilst Holy Island is both spiritual and beautiful, it's the castle that holds court on the landscape. And where many historical landmarks are preserved purely to visit and enjoy, this castle is in fact home to a few lucky residents.
Come in.
Oh wow, look at that view. It's amazing. What's it actually like living in the castle?
It's absolutely phenomenal living here. But every morning when you wake up, you have to look out across to the Farne Islands, and then you look to the left and there's Hurley Island. It's wonderful.
How many people live here?
We've got 13 apartments, 2 are occupied by members of staff, and the other 11 are leased out to suitable tenants.
Suitable? God, what's the qualification?
Well, we need to make sure that they can afford to live here, first of all, and secondly, that they are the type of people that we would want to have in the castle.
It's an amazing place to live, but it's also an amazing place to visit. Because as you stand and stare, you're not just looking at a view, you're standing in the footsteps of kings, on the ground where battles were won and lost, and where Christianity in Northumberland was reborn, and all on one of the most dramatic coastlines nature has to offer.
Is there any other place which so powerfully reflects the pride and passion of Britain through the ages? It's definitely my favourite view, so vote for it and make it Britain's favourite view.
And you can vote for Bamburgh Castle to be in the final when the lines open at the end of the show.